Netflix's long-awaited adaptation of The Sandman is finally upon us, and we got a chance to speak to two of its stars, Vivienne Acheampong, who plays Lucienne, the librarian of the Dreaming, and of course, Lord Morpheus himself, Tom Sturridge. Check it out.
With you gone as long as you were, the realm began to decay and crumble.
Before I start, a couple of things. One, I have to say that all of you did such a remarkable job in bringing this thing to life. So thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
And an unrelated question for Vivienne, as someone with a excruciatingly polysyllabic name, could you tell me the origin of your last name? I'm curious.
Oh, okay. Acheampong, it's Ghanaian.
Thank you. Very cool. And I also needed the pronunciation, so that's fantastic.
Oh. Mate, I see what you did there, and I respect it.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I encountered the Sandman when I was about 13 or 14. And I think at the age I read it, I probably had no idea what I was reading. I think, I kind of absorbed it for what it was. But with every subsequent reread, which took part at different periods of my life, I would gain something completely different from the stories that Neil was telling. Now, Tom, I know you're a lifelong fan of the comics, but I was wondering if the both of you could share your first encounters with the Sandman.
Well, I am an obsessive fan, but I'm not a lifelong one. I am a relatively new disciple because when I first got sort of when the nascent stages of the casting process, I hadn't read it. It was in the culture, the name Sandman. I was familiar with some of the iconography, the images of Morpheus, but it was because the casting process was so long, it was 8 or 9 months long, that I just had the opportunity to read it over and over again, all 3,000 pages, depending which edition you have, and became utterly devoted. And I now care about it so much as a piece of literature, and I specifically mean literature. I think it's one of the most important works of art of the last 30 years. So yes, I first encountered it, I first read it, I think probably when I was trying to match my audition scene to the comic, to see exactly how it expressed itself in the comic. And my audition scene, I remember, was my first audition scene, I did 1,000, but was when I was standing at the gates of Horn and Ivory, Lucienne and I, me having just returned from imprisonment, and they open up and I see the palace destroyed for the first time. And in the comic, weirdly, it's a very undream face, because he goes like yes, and I think sort of never again has he ever had that face. It was obviously like, the early days, and they were still figuring out how he can express himself, and I definitely tried to do it for maybe the first time we acted it out, but it wasn't a good idea.
What about you, Vivienne?
The same as Tom, really. I had heard of the Sandman, but I wasn't really familiar with it, and then got the casting and then started looking into it. And again, like San, who's San? I was saying Tom and Sand and San. And like Tom, I'm now obsessed and it's really interesting that you say that you've read it at different parts of your life. And when you said that, I kind of got a bit jealous, because I can only just imagine how thrilling it is reading it as a 13-year-old, and then maybe come into it again when you're 16, and then come into it again maybe when you're, I don't know, you don't look like you're over 21, so I'll say 20. But
why, thank you.
Uma, you see what I'm doing here? But just coming to it at different points, because me reading it now and experiencing it and being immersed in this world, I'm just like, oh my God, what Neil has created just blows my mind. And that he started this, very first started writing the Sandman in, I think he said 1987, as a 20-something-year-old, and he's been able to translate that into these comics, and to me, it's about humanity and the human condition, and kind of the darkest parts of ourselves, but also these things that we truly desire that maybe we feel like we shouldn't desire, and some things that we don't want to confront about ourselves. I'm just blown away that it even exists. So I'm a huge fan as well now. I think it's extraordinary.
Tom, talk to me about how you found that voice, because you nailed it. It's what I'd imagined squiggly black speech bubbles sound like.
Well, no, but that's the key thing, is that, well, firstly, it's very strange when you know something so intimately, when you feel you know a character so well, when you spent so much time inside this vast world, and you suddenly realize, oh God, but I've never heard him speak, because you think you have when you read it over and over again. And then, yeah, those... there is something about the capital letters, the white capital letters and the black speech bubbles, that does evoke something. Like you do know that he sounds different.
Yes.
And I can't pretend that I could hear it exactly, but I definitely know that when I look at them, I felt something. Well, sorry, what were you going to say?
See, for the longest time, I thought it was, I'm Batman, but it's not. Like, you nailed it, you got it.
Thank you. Well, the thing is, I mean, it's all Neil, obviously, because again, that's the first thing we haven't said, is that this is, Neil was beside us every step of the way on this journey, and was our teacher, mentor, and guide. And I asked him bluntly, like, what does he sound like? And Neil said, he is the voice inside of your head. That he's the person who leads you to sleep and the person who guides you through your dreams. And
which sounds incredibly unhelpful.
Well, and it sounds unhelpful, but the voice inside your head, I know the voice inside my head is not that. Do you know what I mean? Like I sort of, if I close my eyes and listen to the voice inside my head, it does, there is a quality of relaxation. And if I'm going to be led into dreams, I sort of have to be seduced in some way. Like he has to have an authority and a danger even, but he also has to be seductive. And so that did kind of get me into a place. And then, but also it's just sort of instinct. I think we've all looked at him and heard and sort of had an idea, and it sort of was like that.
Well, it feels definitive now, so thank you very much. Yeah, and also aloofness. There's that aloofness as well, which is very hard to capture, and I think you got that too. Vivienne, I'm curious as to what happens when they do a gender swap, like with Lucienne. I mean, as an actor, is it a question of simply channeling the core qualities of a character, irrespective of gender, or is it about trying to find a femininity or a masculinity?
Uma, let's just have a second for you, because you've hit the nail on the head. It's about the core quality of that character. And that is what led me, because to tell you the truth, I didn't really think about it. I respect the work. I know the original source. But what I delved into is who that character is. What is the makeup of that character? What do they want? What do they believe? The dreaming is so important to Lucienne. It's sacred. Morpheus is, she respects him, she loves him, there's a deep bond there. And we're so lucky because Neil Gaiman has given us this. He gave us everything that we needed to know about these characters, and then it was beautifully adapted by Alan Heinberg. So that's what I leaned into, because I think with Neil's characters, it's not about that. He gives such clear definitions of who these characters are, and that's what I went with.
So the both of you are now very, very big fans, and you were fans first before being a part of this massive thing. Has that changed your fandom in any way, because now you're these characters?
Well, I don't know if it hasn't changed my fandom. I've read it since making it, which was an interesting experience. It means that one of the most satisfying things was I definitely still saw the images as they are in the comics when I was looking at them, but to see frames and go, oh my gosh, I mean that looks, we recreated that exactly. It was a very satisfying thing. I think, I don't know, I still see myself as a foot soldier in the sisterhood and brotherhood of the legion humans who love this, and I'm just one of them.
Yeah, I've read it since the production. And I just think that what is amazing and what is just wonderful is that this is Neil's Sandman. It's for TV, but it's still very much his. That's an adaptation. And what I love is that you've got the original source material, which even when I've read it, it's like Tom says, you see bits of what we've done, but it's still very much that beautiful artwork and the work. It's because it is such a strong piece of work. That is what I see when I see it. I don't see like My Little Beanhead, like in replacement of, you know, the original. And then we have this TV adaptation, which again is Neil's, and it's his, and we've just done another version of it. And then you've got Audible, which you can kind of listen to and imagine in your head. So I just think that we're really lucky that we've got 3 versions of Neil Gaiman's exquisite, incredible work. I mean, how lucky are we?
No, you're absolutely right, because I was just talking to Mason and Kirby, and I was saying the same thing. As a fan, you just kind of want more of something. If you love it, there's an Audible version to listen, there's the graphic novels to read, there's your show to watch, and as a fan, you just kind of want to embrace all of that, right? Which brings me to the obvious question about fandom and how you manage the noise. Because I'm always curious. I think everyone's given me a different answer so far about how they manage all of the noise on the internet with regards to something that is this big, that is being brought to life after so very long.
I don't have access to the internet.
That is the best thing you could possibly do.
That's my telephone.
That's his phone.
You're joking.
No,
that is
Tom is so impressive.
I have no idea.
Yeah, Tom is so impressive. We're going somewhere, and then we're kind of like, how did you get here? Because you didn't look on a map. And he's like, no, I just did the traditional thing that we used to do ages ago, and like looked it up and tried to find it. And I'm like, oh my God, that blows my mind. I wish I was Tom, but I'm not.
You must get so much work done, Tom.
I do, or I don't know. I think I look out the window probably.
Yeah,
more
you probably take the world in and see life, don't you? Like, for me, it was advice that actually Kirby gave me when we were on the job, and I met her. Didn't have any scenes with her, but we managed to cross paths and just like, oh. And what she said to me, she was like, "Do you know something? Just remember the experience of the job," and that is something that I will take with me forever, because I just had such an incredible time on this production, being part of this world, getting to play this character, meeting new incredible people, you know, that are going to be friends for life. Not Tom, but the rest of the cast. And that is just amazing, because yes, there is noise and there can be, you know, a lot of stuff going on, but just remembering that you're part of something that you believe in and that you love and that you're passionate about and that you enjoyed, that's what I remember. And that's what keeps me going and going like, oh my God, I'm in the Sandman. It's amazing.
And I think the good voices outnumber the bad ones. I think that's the thing to remember as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
More often than not.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's but you know, having said that, and I mean, sort of having said that, I access the internet, I did go to Comic-Con, and that was the most glorious experience ever.
It's a joyous place.
Yeah, it's
really is
utterly joyous. Just because again, I'm a fan of Sandman more than anything else. Like, I genuinely may have tried to go to Hall H to watch like the panel if I wasn't in it. And it was just, you know, the thing that's amazing about Sandman fans, and I think comic book fans in general, is that they're so steeped in the literature, and I don't know, I mean, obviously people are fans of actors sometimes, but like, it really, I've never been to a place where people are such fans of the characters.
Yes.
And I feel such bonds with these beings that don't exist. There's something so beautiful about falling in love with a ghost, and I don't know, I just had such an amazing time, and I'd never seen the trailer before. And so to turn around and be with those 6,000 people and be as one with them, facing the same direction, it's watching the trailer for the first time, which I have to say I really loved.
Yeah.
Like, was just one of the most wonderful experiences. So I mean, me not having access to the internet is not in any way not wanting to have access to the fans, because I think they're fucking amazing.
You can curse, it's fine, it's cool.
Okay.
I'm all out of time. Now I just have this image of Tom walking the streets of London with an A to Z in his hand. And,
I mean,
but
that's accurate. That's accurate.
But thank you so much. Congratulations, you guys have done a remarkable job. I spent the first few episodes just going, please don't suck, please don't suck, please don't suck. And it didn't.
Umar,
it didn't.
So much.
It really does mean so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye. Take care.
I will not have dreams and nightmares preying on the waking world. I will bring them all back.
That was Tom Sturridge and Vivienne Acheampong. You can catch The Sandman when it premieres on Netflix this Friday, August 5th. Let us know what you think. Sound off in the comments below. Don't forget to check out our other interviews right here on YouTube. Tell your friends, tell your family. You know what to do.